Elway boots and rolls to his right, stops, loads it up, throws down deep in the middle of the field. Rod Smith's got it. Here we go. 30, 20, 15, 10, 5. Rod Smith, Denver, touchdown. Inside the 10, head first. He's high. Yard line. Wanted that first down.
And I tell you what, if you want to tell me the 37-year-old man that's going to win this game.
The Broncos have been in 3 overtime games this year.
Sorry about that, everybody. Welcome to the Denver Bronco Roundup. Thanks so much for tuning in. It's a W. It's a W. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. We're here to talk everything Broncos. Of course, we're part of the Rocky Mountain Sports Network. I am your host. I'm Keith Brugman. Coming into the stream, Jody Moncrief. How we doing, Jody?
Welcome, everyone.
And, of course, Albert. Albert, how we doing, sir?
I'm doing very well. A little bit tired of the trip to the Denver Broncos, but yeah, we got to win.
Yes, we got to win. Hey, good question. How long was your trip, Albert?
My trip was over 10 hours.
Ooh, man. Now, do you cross any time zones either way?
Yes, one time zone from Central to Pacific Mountain. Yep.
Yeah. Losing time as you're going back home. And I imagine you're a little bit tired, man. 20 hours of driving and a lot of screaming in the stands.
Oh, yeah. I recorded over 115 decibels where I was sitting.
Oh, boy. Earplugs at all?
Nope.
Just toughed it out, man. Broncos
Toughed
style,
it out.
man.
Yep.
Jody, man. I imagine you enjoyed the win, but how's your week?
It's been good. Can't beat a W. I thought the defense played well.
Yeah, we can style about defense, that's for sure. Well, I mean, I'll tell you, man, coming down, I think I have it somewhere noted down here. I think it was the last 10 minutes, man. If you guys have your fingernails left, man, this is a nail biter right to the very bitter end, man. Each team had opportunities to give this, but we'll get into all that, man. First, I just want to give a quick shout-out. Thanks to Willow Seasonings and Blends for sponsoring tonight's show. Check out their lineup, willowseasonings.com. Get ready for my favorite season of barbecue season. That's the fall. So jump over there, put a little spice in your life. If anybody caught the Time to Ride, we had actually Dave on there. He was on there to make Philly's cheesesteak sandwiches, man. It was pretty dang good, man. So go check out those further episodes as well. And Dave's already in here. He's saying, "What's up, guys? Glad my prediction was way off." I think, well, especially if you watch the Sunday Night Football crew, there was only one guy who chose the Broncos to win. And I'm forgetting his name right off the top of my head, but man, it's been, of course, but it's been a sweep. It's been a sweep. It was pretty much a sweep all the way across the board from everybody out there, right? Everybody expected the Broncos to lose this game.
Not me.
Well, okay. I will say the national media was not on board. Albert, what was your score prediction?
I knew it was a low score, but that low, I said 24-18.
24-18. And Jody, remind me yours again?
I had 24-17.
20. Yeah, we were all in the same boat. I changed mine to 20-17. So, but man, it was just overall, like I said, fantastic game. We're gonna dig into it. Got people going in here. Adam coming in here saying, "Let's go! What a great start to the week, man." Yeah, Sunday Night Football. We get to go to sleep with Broncos dancing through your head, and that big W. Start off the week Monday with a Broncos W in your pocket walking into works. Man, we got, like I said, lots to get into. Going to change this up a little bit. Going to hit you guys with some questions. So first one, right off the bat, heading up to this game, there was a ton of talk around in-game decisions. That said, I want to know who was your coach of the game, and I will go. Albert, I'll go with you first, sir.
Yeah, it is very obvious. Iviro, whatever you call his name, he is the coach of the game. What he did with that defense, that is unbelievable. He could be the coach of the year.
Yeah. A lot of talk already. People talking about him already getting offers at the end of this year. We're 3 games in. This guy's already talking about getting offers for a head coaching position already. Jody, do you agree? Do you have somebody else? Who's your coach?
No, I'll have to go with same thing, the DC. After San Francisco scored that first touchdown, we made massive changes, and they didn't move the ball again the rest of the game.
Yeah, this defense is like all-star level, man. And so far through 3 weeks, it's everything that you could have wished for. Just to kind of give you an idea, here's the Denver defense in week 3. I'll just start right now: 4 sacks, 2 fumbles recovered, 1 interception, 1 safety. Man, so said I don't know if there's anybody else that you could choose other than EJ Evero and coach of this game, probably of the game on both sides, possibly even coach of the week. Man, it was just a fantastic performance in the way that he came out and was able to just dominate that side of the game.
And the biggest thing is we do this without Justin Simmons.
Yeah.
So that means we are good in all areas, and we have depth, and even the backups are tremendous. It's surprisingly good.
We've had people in and out all throughout this 3-game run, right? We've had Josie Jewell out. We've had Justin Simmons out. We had Patrick Surtain go out for a game, part of a game. I mean, through all of this, fantastic coaching. Way to keep these guys prepared, communicating well, on top of the game. And it is really easy if an offense is not performing all that well and your defense is constantly put out on the field to start getting a little bit down and not start performing, man. So, man, just a performance. Can't speak to it enough. So,
and I wouldn't say that the Niners offense was bad. The Niners offense was really good, but our defense just was a step better than them.
Yeah, I said one of my keys to the game was making sure that we didn't get behind early. That we went into the halftime not behind big. Obviously, we did not have any issues with that, and we got even better as Jody mentioned in the second half. Man, shutting them down after putting up 7 points on the board.
I'd like to give an honorable mention though to Jerry Rosberg. I mean, he, for a short time as he was here, if he really. The first 2 games, you got to think that he made a huge impact. We didn't see any clock management problems. We've seen 0 delay of game penalties. We did lose 2 challenges, but they were both right on the edge. They could have went either way, so I'm not going to say they were bad calls or bad challenges. So, you got to give a lot of credit to that. And I'll give a lot of credit to Hackett, too, for, right after the game, owning up to that and saying, I need help. Not being afraid to get help, asking for it.
Yeah. Go ahead, Albert.
That's what I said during the morning show yesterday too. Hackett, he shows humility. He is not afraid to ask for help where he needs help. And Henry Ford, for example, he asked, if I do not know the answer, I will find somebody who has the answer. Well, Hackett did the same thing, and I give him big kudos for that. That shows a great coach.
Yeah, and if we're going to give shout-outs all the way across the board, let's face it, our special teams played outstanding in this game, and they were put to the test in this game. There were plenty of coverages that we had to go down on, and I can only think of one, and thank goodness Alex Singleton came in and he wrapped a guy up as he was turning the corner, because I think we didn't have any coverage left on that edge of the field. Yeah, absolutely. Great tackle, like you said, Jody. How did it look live, Albert? Do you remember it?
It is amazing to see that alive. And this was my second game, and it was even better than the first one. So to see that all up front in front of you, and while there's a break, you see commercials, but we see a little bit more during the live games what is going on in the background, and you see our players just dancing while they have the breaks. It is really fun to see.
Yeah, I actually remember the first game that I went to down at Mile, or I should say Empower Field, at Mile. The first time to have that commercial timeout, that messed me up so bad. I'm like looking around, I'm like, who called a timeout? Who called a timeout with like 2 minutes into the game? What is going on? You know, looking around, timeout, and all the players just stand around like they don't know what to do for a little.
Yep.
Bit. It's kind of funny. So, yeah, certainly different being live. Dave Slade coming in here and saying Jewel changed my opinion on him. He was all over the place. Great performance by him. Yeah, we might have some MVPs a little bit later. Might end up being one of those candidates, Dave. I certainly deserves to be a candidate. We'll see if he makes the top of the board. Well, let's move on just a little bit. Like we kind of mentioned, and like Jody even kind of mentioned here, through the first couple of games, it seems like we've been a team of two halves. So I got this question for you. We'll start with Jody first. I want, on the first half performance, give me a grade for the offense, give me a grade for the defense.
A D for the offense. I mean, they really couldn't get the ball moving. They looked out of sorts in the pass game. Russell was just off. He doesn't have a second or a third or a fourth wide receiver. It's Sutton or no one. He has no tight ends that he trusts right now. I mean, the run game is still on par, but and the defense minus one drive in the whole game, A+.
Very good, man. Very good. So again, A+ and your D on the offense, right?
Yes.
Yeah, all right, man. Anybody else? If we have any of our viewers want to give us a first half, grade of the offense and the defense for the Denver Broncos, A through F, go ahead and chime in. But now it's Albert's time. So Al, what do you think, man? How did the offense do? How did the defense do?
I don't blame the offense too much of it, because the Niners defense is pretty much on par almost as ours. So they are very, very good. So even there are some miscommunications and they didn't get the ball going, I would grade it a C. And the defense, just what Jody said, the first little glitch that he had, and then they recovered quickly, absolutely an A+.
And that's one big thing I've noticed from this year to last year is we're aggressive. We don't sit back and we're not a bend but don't break. When we come after the quarterback and we're not afraid to blitz and make plays, where Vic was let them run 20 plays, and if they kick a field goal, great. We're not that way this year.
Yeah. I can't give the highest grade, obviously, for an offense who didn't put a whole lot on the board in the first half. I'll probably give them a C-. Part of this is probably more into the coaching, but these guys came out, and the first thing that I noticed is something that I wanted to do. I called it out in our pre-show. I wanted these guys to come out and hurry up offense. These guys absolutely came out and hurry up. Now, unfortunately, I think it was 3 or 4 punts in a row hurried up and did. 3 or 4 3-and-outs, I should say. They went into punts. So it was a little to begin the game. Like I said, nothing really going on. But I'll give them a minus. I think they stuck with it. They were resilient. Again, they were really going after the game plan, obviously, that was put in front of them. It wasn't until the second before anybody decided to take over the game, and we can get to that as well. As far as that defense, so yeah, I'll give them an A if they would have put zeros up on the scoreboard, but dang near there. I mean, they really tightened down, and on an offense that, quite honestly, I was scared of that run game, what they were going to put together with their stable of running backs or / wide receivers, and the way that they can absolutely gash a defense. We only had a couple of instances where they knocked off a couple big runs. It was in the first half, it seemed, but really bottled them up the rest of the way. Got to give them an A all the way around for that one. So
one thing I'd like to say too, although they weren't scoring or having long drives, they were moving the ball enough that they flipped field position a lot, and they pinned San Francisco deep a lot in that game. And in a game like that, that's big when San Francisco's starting inside the 20.
yeah. I think if I remember right, I want to say six inside the 20, if I remember correctly, on the punts, and a total of 10 punts on the night, if I remember correctly as well.
Yeah. And
I mean, that's huge.
Yeah, it is huge.
Two of those 6 within the 10-yard.
Yeah, and that was a point of emphasis. In weeks past, special teams coach came out and he goes, I've been asking him to try to get it in there way too deep. I've been telling him, hey, let's get it inside the 5. Let's see what we can do in practice, right? And he goes, I think I need to back off him just a little bit, just make sure he's getting it inside the 10. And man, that must have worked because he was nailing them. It was fantastic. Don't get me wrong, the 49ers punter was putting some ones on us as well, man. That was the amount of times we were backed up to the 1. Another point to this, I guess, and I don't know exactly where this happened all within the game, but I think this is worth talking about right here. Our offense this year compared to offenses in the past would have not survived being backed up on the one multiple times like we were in this game. Straight simple. Anybody disagree?
I definitely agree.
Absolutely.
When we need to run the ball, for the most part, we can run the ball, and the run game got us out where we at least could give the punter some room to punt.
Absolutely. So, anything else from this first half that we need to touch on quick? I mean, I know that we'll have a lot to go on, man, but
I think our special teams scored a B in the first half as well.
There you go.
One thing I'd like to see is Montel Washington. He, instead of letting those balls bounce at the 10, he needs to, fair catch those. He needs to try to catch those, even if you're at the 8 or so. I mean, just you got to give the O a little room to maneuver there. I mean, they were pinning him deep, and he didn't single fair catch one of them. I don't know if that's a scare, if he's scared to drop it or what, but that's something that he needs to work on.
That was the two sides to the press conference I saw with the special team coach. He was talking about Montreal because a few of those in prior games, he was getting back all the way into the end zone and taking him out. He was taking him at the goal line and bringing him out, and they weren't resulting on getting out to the 25-yard line like it would be if we just took a knee or let that ball go over our head. So he talked about, hey, we've been talking with him. He knows the 10-yard line is where he needs to have his heels, and if let it go if it goes beyond there. And there was even one, I think I saw him, probably was about the 15-yard line when he was about ready to receive the punt, and he started drifting back, and you could almost see, I think what happened was he saw the 10-yard line at the corner of his eye. And
he overthought it.
And then he jumped back, and it was like, away, and jumped back and everything. He was, once he saw that 10-yard line, the corner of his eye, he wanted nothing to do with what was going on there. So these are things that are going to get better, I think, over time. Again, Corliss Waitman, how many punts did he have heading into this game? It was minimal. It was his first year. Same thing with Washington. These guys, hey, we're not, like you said, we're not fumbling the punt. We're not making stupid mistakes when we're punting, and punting out of direction or anything like that. We've been doing quite well when it comes to it. Just like you said, a few tweaks, and special team could be fucking amazing. It could be another weapon as far as this Denver Broncos team is concerned.
One negative I have on Hackett, and he's done this in all 3 games, is that he's got to stop calling the same plays in like a handful of play calls. He's got to stop that. You get one good play or some, and then he goes right back to the well. Save that, stash that away, and move on.
Yeah. Because
every time that he ran it the second time, the team knew that it was coming, and it got stuffed for nothing.
All right, we're going to switch over. We're going to go second half now. We'll start with Albert. I want the same thing. We'll start talking a little bit about this, but give me your grade A through F, offense and defense. Tell me what you got, buddy.
Well, offense, I would give them a B minus. And they got some of the stuff together. They got pretty much play time, and even although there was a fumble of Melvin Gordon and recovered, but they were at least trying very hard, and they were on the field and trying. Defense, yeah, you cannot complain about the defense. Only a field goal, A plus, and then the special teams, I will give them an A as well.
All right, man. How about you, Jody? Give it to me.
I'm gonna go probably a C minus on the offense, but I will give that last scoring drive an A plus. I mean,
All right.
we seen that was the old Russell Wilson. He scrambled, something that he hadn't done. He made great throws that scrambled to the left to Hinton. The check where he threw that back shoulder fade to Sutton, that was pure beauty. I mean, that's what we need to see more of. Let Russ, and you can see it. It's almost like, and I heard some other people say this, that when Russ starts to take off, he's still looking for receivers and wants to always pitch it or something. Run and get 5, run and get 6.
Yeah.
He did that last week again. I don't remember if it was game 1 or 2. He had an easy walk in and tried to throw the ball, and he could have just walked into the end zone.
Yeah. I think there's a lot of guys that are so to play within the system, and he's definitely one of those guys. He's trying to play by the rules. He's trying to do exactly what coaches say, and sometimes, just like you said, it's to the detriment. Sometimes you just got to let it loose. That final drive, that was it, man. That was loose. That was Russell Wilson being Russell Wilson. Like everyone says, letting Russell cook, and he was out there making it happen. So I will agree with you guys. You know, obviously when it comes to that defense, I can't give him anything more than an A plus. Again, to come back out here, everyone's trying to make adjustments at halftime. So this is a professional football team. We're obviously, everyone expected them to win. You know what I mean? So this is the team that was supposed to walk out of Denver with a W, and that defense made sure that did not happen. On the other side, yeah, I'll probably go C plus. You know what? I'll go B minus. I'll go B minus just because, again, what Albert was talking about, that effort was there. They looked better. They were trying harder. You know, you could tell they were doing everything in their power, and finally, when Russ let it loose, and like Jody said, that A plus drive came through. That was it, man. That's what we were all waiting for. It changed the boos that we were hearing in that stadium, Albert, over to cheers. I'll give them that, man.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to talk about that. How did you guys feel? There's one thing when, you know, maybe that Texans game, you know, when things were just going bad, you know what I mean, and boo raining down. But here we are again in this game, and the boos start coming in. Is it right? Should Broncos country be doing this? Is it their right because they paid the ticket like Albert did and drove 10 hours to get there for him to boo? Or is it something that the Broncos country needs to move past and start supporting their team? Start with you, Jody. I'll go with you first, buddy.
I think these boos are built up from 6 years. We haven't seen offense in 6 years, legitimate offense, and all the hype of Russ coming in and Hackett going to bring this explosive offense and creative, and we haven't really seen that yet. That's why I think the fans, plus they paid him $250 million right away, and it just hasn't clicked yet. I think that's where the boos are coming from, not so much right there in the moment. It's just frustration over 6 years.
So before I jump out of camera here, are you okay with it then? Because of the 6 years, do the Broncos somewhat deserve this, or is this something that the Broncos country needs to stop and start supporting their team?
No, I'm okay with it. I mean, that's the right as a fan to boo or support your team. If it all comes down to if the players don't like it, correct the mistakes, and you won't hear boos, you'll hear cheers.
There's one way to make them stop, huh?
How soon will the fans forget when you put 35 up? I mean, they won't be booing. I mean, it's a series by series thing. I mean, the crowd was pretty loud when they scored that last touchdown. So.
Oh yes. First, some 100 and some decibels according to Albert, I believe. So Albert, What's your thoughts on this, man?
So some of the boos were, I think, justified. The drop of Jerry Jeudy, he could have gotten it clearly, and they got booed for that one. But some of the boos are also not justified because the Niners defense, they were almost on par with our defense. So they were very, very good. And so that in the first half that they didn't get all the plays in, yeah. Do you get some boos deserved maybe? Yes, but some of them were not deserved either. And in the second half, you could see that our offense was wearing down the Niners defense, and they got a little bit more done. And that is what the biggest benefit.
I'll piggyback off of that a little bit. The Jerry Jeudy, like the drops, and then at the end of the game, you want to get into a Twitter war with Shannon Sharp, and you make it very easy for them to want to boo. You're a first-round pick. You have done little to nothing. You went a whole season with no touchdowns. You did nothing last game. You did nothing this game. I mean, and you have a ball. Yes, the ball was tipped, but it was like the alligator arm. He didn't make an effort. I mean, just stuff like that. I mean, he makes it very easy to want to boo him when he's pulling that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I'll talk a little bit more about the whole tweet thing a little bit later, man. But not making any friends in Broncos country if you're calling out a Ring of Famer and a Hall of Famer, and Shannon Sharp as well. Michelle, the gal who was sitting right next to you, Albert, tuning in saying they need to start supporting their team, but honestly, there were so many 49ers fans, much of those boos were coming from them as well. You agree, Albert? Quite a few 49ers fans in the attendance, huh?
At least 2/5.
Oh, wow.
Yep. It was
man, Broncos country, come on, man. Go represent.
Yeah, it was amazing how many we were sitting amongst 49ers in our section. So it was more 49ers than Broncos that we had.
That is amazing.
Still we had a great time. And
good,
I think
good,
that is
good.
And I think that is one of the best things I like about American football. Even although you are different teams, you are still supporting. I would say support each other, friendly to each other, and that is completely different in the soccer world. You don't want to be a fan there.
I can tell you, being a little bit older, back in the day, I had a family friend who went to Oakland Stadium dressed out in all orange and blue. They did not have the same experience you did have, Albert. I'm sorry. So maybe that's changed now that we're in Vegas and times have changed a little bit. But it was a pretty rough go in Oakland back in the early 90s, late 80s, early 90s, I'll tell you that. So.
Oh, those games got heated. Do you remember the game when they were putting batteries in snowballs and throwing them at the players?
That's right.
And
that's
I don't remember who it was for the Raiders that come up in charged the crowd and stuff, went up in the stands and stuff.
Yeah, you're right. I'll have to look that up.
There was some pretty wild stuff back then.
Yeah. So, like I said, I'm glad it's a little bit more friendly in your 49ers section within Empower Field. Man, that's a little wild, man. But like you said, great time, and obviously, you could tell there was still a good majority of Broncos fans when that touchdown did go in. But I want to talk about that. Go ahead.
I think this goes back to that they see what this defense is, and are we going to waste another? I mean, we've seen great above-average defenses with Vic that got wasted because of poor offense. Is this another defense we're going to waste? I don't think it's so much booing the team. It's frustration that all you got to do is score a couple touchdowns, and this defense we got to win.
Yep.
Yeah, it would be interesting if we would have put up the 11 points all at the very beginning, like first quarter, and we would have just had to hold on. Maybe probably quite a few less boos, I would imagine.
No, I think you would even get more, because if you don't do anything in the second half, if you only score 11 points in the first half, and you don't do anything in the second half, I think the fans are even more frustrated.
Good point. Good point. Well, I just want to break down because, man, it did all come down to really one drive, and the final 10 minutes and 14 seconds of the game is what it came down to. Started off with a punt by the 49ers, and then we go on our 12-play, 80-yard touchdown drive, 2 minutes and 6 seconds off the clock. Obviously, we started hinting at what that drive meant, but, either one of you guys jump in and talk about that drive a little bit, man.
I was talking to some other fans earlier before the game, and I said I think Russell Wilson will score a rushing touchdown. I wasn't quite right, but his rushings created that scoring drive. Mm-hmm. If he had not rushed at 12 yards or 13 yards, we would not have had that touchdown. So Russell was on fire in that. I think the entire offense was on fire. They had some little mistakes, but other than that one drive, they were great.
I agree. We don't need to see Lamar Jackson running the ball, but he needs to run when he has to. And in the first couple games, it was he's made his mind up. I'm not running the ball, and if that results in an incomplete pass or a sack, so be it.
Yeah, absolutely. I was surprised. He said that indecision that he had kind of broke out. He put it all to the wayside when he needed to run. He ran. Even that pitch that he pitched out to the side to Gordon for extra yardage. I mean, it's a heads-up play. It's a little bit dangerous. When I saw slow motion, I'm like, oh, thank goodness there wasn't a defensive guy anywhere in sight of that little floating chest pass that he threw out there to the side. That's a little nerve-wracking, but it's the type of things that Russell Wilson does. It's what he's known
that's Russ
for.
being Russ. Yeah.
And that's Russ being Russ, and he rarely makes a mistake. It's what Albert said, this was the guy, this was the drive, this is what we've been waiting for. He finally did it. It's what put us up and put 7 points up on board, or put 7 points on the board. So, after that, it was no less nerve-wracking. We end up getting it back to the 49ers. They get 5 plays in, 23 yards, and throw an interception for us. So, like we talked about, great turnover game. We even kind of brushed over the fantastic safety they had in this game as well. But
one thing I'd like to go back on that last drive, and I said it in the moment, that back shoulder fade to Sutton, that was a pinpoint pass, and that's two. And I'm hoping that is a game-defining or a season-changing with this offense, because, I mean, that was Russ being Russ. That you don't see that from Teddy. You don't see that from Drew Lock. You don't see that from 6 years of the quarterbacks we've had here. So, I mean, that was one of the best throws I've seen, and it was right on the money, and that set up that scoring drive right at the end.
But I think the change of the game of the moment was that safety. I think that changed everything for us, for the Niners. Mm-hmm. I think that was the game changer, that safety. And unfortunately, Garoppolo was out of bounds. Otherwise, that would have been a pick six.
Yeah. It took actually points off the board by getting a safety. That rarely happens, right?
But that safety is a perfect example. We were getting pressure all night. I don't like the narrative, well, it only happened when Trent Williams went out. That's factually untrue. We were getting pressure when he was in there. Mm-hmm. And I'll give a game ball 1 to Randy Gregory. I mean, he's probably been Denver's best defensive player through 3 games, in my opinion. He's been for not playing full games. I mean, they're putting him on a pitch count. He's getting legit pressure. He's been great in the run. He's caused fumbles. He's gotten sacks. I mean, he's been great because I was on the fence with the signing. My wife's a Cowboys fan, so we watch more than I'd like to, but I seen what he could be, but I also seen what he wasn't. It was a lot of what ifs, and it's been really good so far, in my opinion. Well,
your opinion's going to be opinion too, man. I'm a Pepper, you're a Pepper. wouldn't you like to be a Dr. Pepper too? So I mean, I agree 100%, man. He's played much better than I expected. As much time as he was not even in training camp while I was there, doing all, side activities on the side field, getting limited time coming into the game. He's been nothing but really dominant. And I got to point out one thing. My favorite alignment, when they put Chubb and Gregory on the same side.
I love that.
That's the type of innovation that I'm looking for within a team, offense or defense. What a great way. I mean, what are you guys going to do? You're not going to shift the offensive line. You got to figure this out.
Right.
You know what I mean? And it was fantastic, Especially that play would work great with somebody who's not a veteran QB. Surprised it worked against Garoppolo and he didn't audible into something a little bit better because he just got ate alive on that play. That was fantastic.
Yep.
Albert, you're nodding. I didn't know if you wanted to chime in. I'm sorry, man. Kind of got on.
No, I totally agree. And if they line up Chubb and Gregory on the same side and put Browning or Bonito on the other side, there is no way to defend that. And the duel coming from the middle, there's no way to defend that. The ball on the offensive side for them has to come out within 2 seconds. Otherwise, it is toast for them.
And that's one thing we lacked last year was pressure right up the middle. I mean, Purcell didn't get a lot of pressure at the nose, and DJ Jones, he's pushing the center back. And Draymond's been really good.
Yeah,
I mean, I've loved our front three. It's been really good.
I would even say I was surprised as DJ Jones went out and Purcell was put in that he
was getting
held his
pressure.
own. He was held his own. I was surprised. Like you said, something we didn't see last year. Now all of a sudden it seems even like Purcell's starting to play better. And like you said,
he was right in Garoppolo's face on that safety.
Yeah,
you're right. Yeah.
And I think they make a really good 1-2 punch like Gordon and Pookie. They switch it out with them, and I think that is the winning combination. Don't put them in all the time. Just switch them off.
Yeah.
And I think that is what it makes the difference.
Yeah. I got to give a shout out because our good friend Sis over at the K&K show comes and says, "Good evening, congratulations on your win." Well, thank you, Sis. Man, it was as we were talking about earlier, it was a nail biter, man. I'm down to stubs over here, man. I didn't know if we were going to pull it out, and we're just going down the last stretch on this on the final minutes of this.
What are your
go ahead,
guys' take on? To me, this is a game that we lose last year with Vic. We don't win these type of games, and although we were 3-0 last year, I feel much better about this team this year at 2-1 than I do a 3-0 start. Even though the offense was probably producing a little more last year, you could just see it in some of the just everything. Everything is just different. And that's what has me excited because it's only going to get better.
And the offense from last year, they had to do with gimmicks and that kind of stuff. They were so predictable. And the only way that they could score if they were not predictable. And with this offense, I know they're brand new. With brand new head coach, everything is new for the offense. But I think when they start to gel really together, we will get the 35, 40-point scores.
One thing I think is going to help this too, there's two things. I think we're getting Miners back this week, and that's really going to help the run game. Glasgow, he's been serviceable, but he hadn't been great. And Miners is going to be a beast in this run game.
Yep.
And in a couple weeks, I think we're going to get Greg Dulcich back, and we might actually get tight end play because Albert O has been non-existent. He's been predictable when he's on the field. I mean, and I heard this stat today, when he was on the field, we threw the ball 100% of the time.
Yep.
If teams don't pick that up, I mean, that's pretty obvious that if Albert Bo's out there, pin your ears back because they're throwing the ball.
And he's not getting it.
Right.
He's been one of my.
He's probably been the biggest disappointment for me on offense so far.
Yeah, man, he has not shown up. And he had a couple of targets in the first couple of games, but outside of that, I don't know. I don't think he hauled in a target in a game 3. Quote me if I'm wrong. just kind of talking to what you were talking about, Jody, and the way this team looked, and 2-1, which is 3-0 last year. Maybe early on like this, we might have saw Teddy Bridgewater maybe put something together and pull this out. But I can tell you, as Albert was talking about, we became so predictable that by the end of the season, there's no way we win this game last year or 5 years prior. And this is why I wanted, and exactly to the same point you were just talking to, Jody, this is why I want a little bit more patience with this coaching staff. We're 3 games in, and I know that Hackett deserves a ton, and he's the first one to stand up there and admit it. He deserves to take a ton of heat, but at the same time, it's in motion. These guys are bought in, and we can start already to see things than last year that are going to make this team better down the stretch, that are going to make this team a contender, hopefully, in the playoff run because of what this team looks like, especially compared to years past and coaches past. I really think this is a Hackett and Evero and all these guys coming together and really guiding this team. And I'm glad we got this win. Hopefully it buys us patience. And guys, I guess I just need to finish this up. I'm just going to finish out the last little bit so we can get on to the next game, or our next game against the Raiders. We get that interception, and this was so disappointing to me. We need to kill some time. We had a perfect opportunity to run out the clock. We go 3 plays, 5 yards, 24 seconds, and we have to punt the ball. Luckily, 2 plays, 4 yards. 2 plays, 4 yards, and the 49ers fumble it right back to us. And we're able to run out the last minute and 5 seconds of the game. But yeah, talk about that play calling as it came down, trying to run out the clock. It was horrendous, man. It was had visions of earlier
had you been
in the
sitting
game.
on if you were sitting on a 4-point lead or something, or they needed a touchdown, that's one thing. But all they needed was a field goal, any points.
Yep.
Yeah, and it just looked like that the Niners knew exactly what we were going to do, and they put the defense on it. So the Niners, the defense was really on point at that moment. So yeah, our offense, I think the first ball should have been something like a 10-yard or 15-yard throw instead of a run, because the Niners know how they're going to run out the clock. What do you do? You run the ball.
Yeah.
And that's
I would have liked to seen a screen pass or something there.
Yeah.
Something simple that we have yet to see. But I will give Hackett, I don't know if this is what his mind frame was, but this defense has shut them down the whole game. I'm going to let the defense win this game.
Yeah, I mean, they kind of
And he
had
was
to.
proven right. They did. So, I mean, if that's really what he was thinking that drive, then kudos to him, I guess, because that's what happened. So
Yeah, 100%. Well, I'll give myself the screen just for a sec because I just want to show we end up getting out of there with that 10-11 win, baby. 10-11 win. It's a W nonetheless. We were happy to take it home. End up.
I have one other thing.
Yeah, go ahead, man.
We didn't even bring up Josie Jewell in his first game back. I thought was tremendous. I mean, he had sacks. He led the team in tackles. I mean, tell all these namesayers that want to say what Josie doesn't do because they want to point out that one play where he couldn't cover Samuel. So what? I mean, that's not his game. And he, for not having any reps in preseason or really anything, I mean, he was great.
Yeah.
And that was a game. I mean, you can tell a massive difference from him to Singleton out there. And even Jonas Griffith played a lot better, you could see, with him out there when he's beside Jewell than beside Singleton.
I agreed. I think
I don't want to forget that performance because he's probably the player of the game for me.
All right. Well, that's exactly where we're going to get to. And we have offensive and defensive MVPs. I'll go to Albert first. I'll have him give me his defensive MVP. Who is yours, Albert?
Yeah, it's a toss-up between two, but I'm gonna put in a different one. I think Purcell.
Wow.
Purcell was great at the times that he was in the field, so I think he was an unsung hero.
Very good, man. Why don't we just do defensive only? We'll head over to Jody. Who's your defensive MVP then?
Jewell for me. I mean, I I can't say really much anymore. I mean, he was electric in that game. He did everything but score a touchdown, really. I mean, he sacks, led the team in tackles. I mean, he did everything out there.
Yep. Just a bit different like Albert was. I got to give kudos to Randy Gregory. He was out there. He was making it happen as well. We kind of talked on that a little bit earlier. Always in the backfield, around the ball, stripping balls. You know, he's just been fantastic. Through 3 games, didn't tail off the game. He was right there as well. So I'll make him my MVP. Jody will start.
I have
with
2
you.
other guys. I'd like
you're
to
gonna have a list of honorable mentions for me? All
yeah,
right, man.
just 2 really, because
Okay.
Caden Stearns and PJ Locke coming in and playing for All-Pro safety and Justin Simmons. You watch these 2 games, you wouldn't know that Justin Simmons is not on the field.
That's
And
fair.
2 young
That's fair.
safeties, and I would like to give them props for that because
And
no team has exposed that yet.
I agree, man.
I have another one too, and he's not even on the field, and it is Ejiro the coach.
That's a
Because
good one.
The coach, they put it all into place, and he did it all. And I think if they did not have Iviro, I think they would not be where they are right now.
I agree. It's a different outcome if Vic's running this defense.
All right, man. If my internet connection's bad, guys, I apologize. It looks like it's a little bad on my end, but I'm gonna have to try to power through. So hang with me if having any breakup issues. I apologize. So, Kenny just said, "Good evening. Late for the show. It wasn't pretty win, but it shows in the W column. So that's all that matters right now, in my opinion." And also just kind of adding in the defense looks solid, but lots of improvement needs on the offense still. In that offensive MVP, I was going to go ahead and I was going to turn to you first, Jody. Give me your offensive MVP, man.
I'm going to give it to Cortland Sutton. Denver really hasn't had another wide receiver produce. They've had no tight ends produce this game. And the run game was okay. We got over 100 again, but when Denver needs a big catch or a big play, Russ looks to Sutton, and Sutton's been delivering.
Very good. Albert, how about you?
Yeah, Cortland would be my first one, and then I have a choice between either Russell or Bowles, because Bowles was on fire, even although he had a holding penalty and those 2 sacks. But those, I do not count those towards Bowles, and that has more to do with Russell Wilson. So I think Bowles had a pretty dang good game.
Very good, man. I'm going to have to go. I thought this was going to be a 3-way sweep all the way across the board, man, but because you meant it as well, I don't see how Cortland couldn't get the my offensive MVP. He was the only guy targeted. When we look at stats all the way across the board, I mean, Sutton in week 1, or in week 3, week 1, week 3, 8 catches for 97 yards. And I want to say the next closest guy, I don't know, I don't have that up here, guys, but the next closest guy had 2 or 3 catches, I want to say. It was completely lopsided when it came to
For wide receiver, Melvin Gordon had 5 for 29, but
okay.
For wide receivers, I think Judy 2 for 17.
There you go.
Hitting 1 for 27. That one big catch. I mean, they don't have anything.
Yeah, and Jude, how often was Judy targeted? 6-7 times?
Yeah, I know 2 for sure, and I'm not going to put the 1 on Judy. That was just a missed overthrow by Russ, but that deep
the
ball,
one outside. Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
That deep ball, yes, the ball was tipped, but that hit him in the hands, and a great wide receiver just got to catch that ball. That's a touchdown.
100%.
Yep.
100%. Either one of you guys go ahead and take this. Kenny's coming in with a little question. He said, week 1, you saw the tight ends involved, but after that, non-existent. Do you think they need to involve them more going forward? Or, you know what, I'm going to change this question a little bit. We know that we need a little bit more going forward. We're hoping for Dulcich, as Jody was mentioning a little bit earlier. Hopefully he comes back. Why the drop-off? Is it just because of Albert O? Because we haven't seen Tomlinson. We haven't seen Stoutbert. We haven't seen Beck really involved. Not like we did in week 1. What's the reason for the tail off?
Go ahead.
I think it has more to do with the type of plays that we are playing. More of the deeper threats, and Judy should be able to cut through the middle and get the plays going there. And Sarbert, yeah, his hands are like butterfingers too. And of an Alberto Aquibena, I mean, Sarbert is pretty decent in blocking, and Tomlinson, yeah, that is where you use Tomlinson for blocking, and Beck is more, supporting the running backs.
Yeah,
So-
I agree. It's just these are guys that we saw starting to bring in catches in week 1. They've completely disappeared since. Jody, what's your sense on it, man? Is it just the play calling, as Albert's saying?
No, I think this is maybe, but I think a lot of this is Alberto. He is non-existent in the blocking game, and I think it's a mental thing. He's not on the field when they run the ball, and I don't think he likes that. He's frustrated himself of the blocking, and then you can see it rolling over into pass plays. I mean, the stat I just gave, when he's on the field 100% of the time they throw the ball,
Yeah.
I mean, that gives the defense such an advantage. They just pin their ears back and go. I think that's part of the problem. He needs to improve his blocking a lot.
100% agreed, man.
I mean, I would rather
I'll
see
go
at
with
this
you on
point,
I think it's a product of Alberto.
I'd rather see them just move the fullback. I can't think who I want to say.
Beck.
I'd rather just see them move back outside. At least in the first game, you've seen him make catches and stuff and do some things that we have not seen Alberto do anything.
Yeah, and in your point, I think it is an Alberto issue. I think really what this comes down to is with his inability to perform on the field, it's just something that now Russell's even looking towards, is that position.
Right.
I think then all of a sudden you start thinking, okay, maybe it's the second or the third guy, but you want your number one catching. You want Cortland Sutton catching. You want Jerry Jeudy catching. You want Alberto catching. And that right now, until Dulcich comes back and maybe challenges him for that, that's I think where we're kind of stuck. So I got to say hi to Matt. He says, sorry for joining late, just walking the door from work, a 18-hour day, man. Whoo, man, I'm glad I'm not you, buddy. We're just over here talking about Broncos, man. Loving it. So that being said, man, we're going to be putting a little, I guess, on in our Denver Broncos talk. We'll get on to next week. We're going to be heading on to down to Las Vegas, heading down to Sin City. And, man, I got to do this real quick, guys. Before I get on to that, I just want to make sure today's sponsor is Willow Seasoning and Blends. Obviously, they're a big supporter not only of this show, but of a lot of shows over on the Rocky Mountain Sports Network. So go ahead, go over there, check them out. They're an award-winning seasonings and blends company. In fact, next week, they won't be able to join us as he's going off getting his award off in Kansas City, man, to first play. So literally, willowseasoningsandblends.com. Yeah. Hats off, man. Hats off, man. Congratulations, Dave. Colorado-based, Colorado-owned, veteran, fantastic guy. You go over there. You'll do yourself a favor. You barbecue a favor. You do all your guests a favor. Your friends and family. Willow Seasonings and Blends, man. If it's that, spice up your life. Go ahead and check them out. So, all right. We didn't go out unscathed as Jody alluded to. DJ Jones goes out with a concussion in this game. Baron Browning did go out with a knee injury, did return to the game. But those are some of the injuries we will have heading into this Vegas matchup. Also, yes, as Jody, as you mentioned, hopefully Miners, as Albert can attest to, and I'll let him do so, he was looking pretty good before the game started on Sunday. Also, Darius Phillips has a chance to come back as well. Miners, how did he look overall?
From what I saw, he is moving just like he is now moving around normally, and I didn't see any problems there. But you never know how a player feels inwardly, so I can adjust a bit. But from what I saw, it looked really good.
I mean, he's got to be close, in my opinion, or why even dress him last week?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there was no really need. You had Moody there. If somebody went down, you had Wattenberg. I mean, he's got to be close if you are dressing him.
Yeah, and that's what I think too. And yeah, but
And I'm gonna
unfortunately
try
they
to,
didn't.
fix my internet issue real quick, but just
And I think we lost Keith.
for just a sec.
Oh, go ahead.
Greg Dulcich, so that's who's possibly on IR.
Yeah, and 4 weeks, so they come back after this week, possibly Dulcich and Simmons for week 5 for the Thursday night game versus the Colts. So, I mean, we're getting healthy. I will say that.
And here's the thing: I don't think we need Ojemudia because maybe as a backup, but keep him there as a backup. But other than that, the team is playing really well without him, and Ojemudia has been a little bit of a liability in certain plays. So, yeah, let him be a backup.
I'd like to see Denver do some stuff with who they dress. They got to find some other playmakers. I mean, Washington is non-existent. You don't have a 3, 4, or 5 wide receiver. You got to find somebody. And if that means dress Virgil and let him run go routes or something, because, I mean, even Hamler, he didn't do anything. He had 0 catches. I mean, they got to find some wide receivers. Or teams are just going to double team Sutton, and then what do you do?
Mm-hmm. And I think Hamlet is still a little afraid of getting injured.
And that's what I mean. You gotta, if he's not ready, then put him on IR or don't dress him and fill that spot with somebody that can go out there and hopefully make some plays.
Exactly. And
All
first
right,
it would
guys.
be a good one to do.
I think. Am I back at least a little bit? I'm gonna have to probably suffer through a little bit of this. Sorry, guys.
No, we got you.
Yep.
All right, man. So I just want to hit a little bit heading into this game, and Raiders offense not actually as bad as you would expect when compared to our Broncos offense. 347 yards per game. That's 17th. We're 348 yards per game, which is in 16th. So pretty on par as that's concerned. They're just not nearly as balanced. 80 rushing yards per game puts them at 20th in the league, man. Josh Jacobs has been non-existent. And the 266.7 passing yards per game puts them at 7th. Overall, they're putting up 21.3 points per game. That puts them in 11th, man. So what do you think, man? What do you think about this Oakland? Man, money in the jar. Ching, ching, I said Oakland. How about this Las Vegas Raiders team and their offense? What are you most concerned about heading into this game, Jody?
There's a few things. One, this is a trap game for me because of Oakland. Or I did the same thing. Oakland, the Raiders. They're 0-3, and they are. I mean, I heard a stat today. No team's made the playoffs at 0-3 since the Chargers did in I think 92 actually. I think is what I heard. So you go 0-4, you're out of the playoffs. I mean, this is do or die for them.
Yeah.
Some things that I want to see. This could be a get-right game for the offense. The Raiders' D is atrocious. A guy that I kind of was interested in the offseason, Chandler Jones, 0 sacks this year. He has produced nothing.
Yeah.
And their secondary is horrible, and this could be a get-right game for the offense. One matchup that I'm really interested in is PS2 and the wide
Devontae Adams.
Devontae Adams. I mean, I seen his stats. Adams is 7 catches for 42 yards in the last 2 games. So he's going to be fired up. This is a do or die game for them. That's going to be a heck of a matchup. Probably the league's best wide receiver on a really up and coming cornerback. So
maybe one of the best. Before you jump into anything, Albert, I'll go ahead and I'm just going to hit some of those Raiders defensive stats because it kind of tells a story that Jody is talking about. You can go off well. 376 yards per game puts them at 21st overall. 109 rushing yards per game puts them at 16th overall. 267 passing yards allowed per game puts them at 6th overall. And as Jody was mentioning, maybe a get-right game for the offense. They allow 25.7 points per game. That's 24th in the league. Albert. Talk to me about it.
So this could be a trap game indeed, because the Raiders want to perform. I will go back to the offense. They need to get running that ball because they need to wear down the defense, and I think that's the only way to win this game, by running them down. And they need to keep that tight end in control as well, because that tight end is very, very good. I mean, he is not on par with Kittle, but he's getting there.
Yeah, at points last year, Darren Waller was looking better than Kittle, or just as good, I would say. So yeah, you're right. Waller hasn't really broken out. Well, he's done all right again, but I agree. This is a breakout game for the offense / trap game for the Broncos. You go against an 0-3 team. They're scrappy. They're looking for a win. You know, Josh McDaniels is probably looking at pulling out every bag. Every trick in his bag of tricks, right, is going to be coming out in order to try to get a win against the Denver Broncos, for them at home in Las Vegas as well. But man, this is as Jody pointed out, I don't know if we even have a second wide receiver, let alone a third, fourth, or fifth. You know, right now Judy is trying to play that second and did not show as a legitimate second. We're missing Tim Patrick. As simple as that. If Tim Patrick was on this team right now, this offense, I think, would look completely different. Said it in our ad. Is this the missing piece? 100%, in my opinion, this is the missing piece in our offense. This is the time for these guys to start stepping up. I don't care if it's a tight end. I don't care if it's a wide receiver. We're going to need more than Cortland Sutton. And if you're going up against the 24th defense against the pass game, this is the time to get right in the passing game. This is the right time to get right in the offense. And don't fall into the trap. Come in here ready to play. This is not an 0-3 team. They're going to be playing like they're a 3-0 team going in.
Yep.
And one thing I want to see is eliminate the Raiders now. Don't play with them all year. Put them out. Put them away now. I mean, they go 0-4, they'll collapse.
Exactly right. Yeah, bury them while they're down. Don't
bury them. Yep.
You know, like they said, you know, don't take your foot off the gas in the fourth quarter. Go ahead and keep your foot down and bring it home. This is like one of those type of situations. This is putting the pedal down. So, just really quick, guys, any concerns heading into this game? What's your biggest concern heading into the matchup?
Yeah, Devontae Booker and Waller needs to be contained, and if they do that, I think we have a great shot at winning this game.
Whew, got a little sneeze there. How about you? Any concerns?
Finding another wide receiver or somebody to catch the ball besides your running back cannot be your second leading receiver every game.
Very good. And I think that goes right into the keys to the win in the game as well. I think we'll wrap that all into one. But now I want to get to your final score prediction. Jody, I'll start with you, buddy.
Until I see this offense do something, I don't think I'm not going to go high, but I would like to say around like 24-10. Denver.
Very good. Very good. How about you, Albert?
I think we can do 28-10. I think we can shut them out.
Almost shut down completely, keep them to 10 points and get some points up on the board. The funny thing is, I literally wish I would have written this down because I could hold it up, because my score prediction was 24-10. You know, I think if we can get to that 24 points that these guys are allowing, every other team, we've been underperforming when it comes to the offense. We need to hit the average that the Raiders are giving up. And we should absolutely be able to hold the Raiders to 10. If we were able to hold the San Francisco 49ers to 10, I think we should be able to hold the Raiders to 10. I call it a 24-10 win. So
make a big play early and don't give them any momentum, because if they get rocking, I think, you know, them being 0-3, they'll keep the pedal to the metal. So
yeah, I agree 100%, man. It's on both sides of the game. Kind of like this last game, we need to make sure that we don't get behind. We need to be firing all cylinders from the very beginning, man. So we're already running a little bit past time. We'll get some final thoughts as we get out of here. Albert, give Broncos country, give Denver Bronco roundup your final thoughts getting out.
Yeah, the Broncos need to, like we said before, need to contain Waller and the Adams, and if they can perform well on offense, it should be a great game. It should be a great game. That's what I think.
Very good, Jody, man. Very good, Albert. Jody, any final thoughts? I think I do that a lot.
I'd like to see
that all into one sentence.
Right, the pass rush expose these two tackles. Colton Miller, he's probably an above average left tackle, but they are very weak on the right side. Expose that, get pressure on Carl all day. He likes to throw the ball quick, and don't let them get any momentum. Put them away.
Yep.
Don't make this a 4-quarter game. Put this game away early.
Very good, man. I'll agree with you guys on that point, man. Like I said, on these points, man, I think it's going to be a fantastic game. I think there's going to be some fantastic matchups all the way across the board. I'm going to go a little different direction with my final thought. We've been gaining subscribers over at the Denver Bronco Ramp. But I'm going to make this a little bit easier. We've been having a contest out there hanging out for a while. I was really aggressive. I wanted to get to 1,100 viewers. I'm going to drop it down to where everybody else does. Once we get to 1,000 viewers, we're going to give our giveaway. And that's our signed Training Camp 2022 t-shirt. We get to 1,000 viewers, which I think is like 12 away, and we're giving that away. There's a Jonas Griffith autograph right under that, guys. So, again, get out there. I appreciate you guys. I appreciate all our viewers, all our watchers, all our subscribers. We've had 980 plus for a few months now, just rocking along and trying to push that a little bit further. We get to 1,000. One of you guys are walking away with that T-shirt. So that's my final thought for the night. So, guys, I appreciate you guys so much. Thanks for coming on. I know it was a little bit longer show. I think it was a fantastic show. Can't wait for this Sunday. Go up against the Las Vegas Raiders, and hopefully we'll be talking about another win next Tuesday. So,
absolutely.
All right. Rest up our show again next Tuesday, October 4th, 6:30 p.m. Catch us then. As always, like, follow, share, and subscribe. We're on all the platforms: Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube. You can also directly chat with me through my Twitter account if you would like to. Join our on Facebook, of course, Rocky Mountain Sports Network. We do all this Bronco stuff plus so much more. There's stuff going on there all the time. A big thank you again to Willis Seasonings, fantastic sponsor from all of us here at the Denver Bronco Roundup. Proud to be part of this Rocky Mountain Sports Network. Thank you so much for watching. Until next Tuesday. Geez, I guess we can again sign it off like a Russell Wilson style, right? Broncos country. Let's ride.
Let's ride.
Let's ride.